Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Comprehensive martial arts. Wudang Mountain opens a medical clinic, and when hanging up, it becomes stronger. Li Yan traveled to the world of comprehensive martial arts, opened a small medical clinic on Wudang Mountain, and linked it to a hanging game, unknowingly becoming a world-renowned divine doctor. Every time a patient is treated, they can also receive longevity yuan and use longevity yuan to accelerate the game of hanging up. You can hang up for a day, bridge the sky and earth, and enter the realm of innate nature. You hang up for a month, understand sword techniques, and become a master of swordsmanship. You hang up for a year, understand the meaning of swordsmanship, and break through the master of swordsmanship. You have been idle for 10 years, comprehending the path of Yin and Yang, achieving the unity of heaven and humanity, and achieving the goal of heaven and humanity cultivation, medical skills, martial arts, artistic conception, divine powers. No need for effort, hang up and become stronger. Huang Rong, Zhou Zhiruo, Ren Ruyi, Nie Xiaofeng, Jiang Yuyan, Inviting Moon, Lianxing, Mei JiangxueAccompanied by beauty, indulging in the world. One day, Li Yan regained his senses and had already stepped into the realm of land immortals. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Wudang Mountain, Dr. Li, Seeking Fresh Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wudang Mountain. A small medical clinic located at the foot of the mountain. Thank you, Dr. Li. A middle-aged woman stood up, holding a bag of medicine, and gratefully said to a young man, bending over. Aunt Fong, these days, remember to rest more. The young man suggested. Good. After speaking, the middle-aged woman turned around and left. The young man looked at Aunt Fong's departing figure with a faint smile. 3 days of Shouyuan, I have it. The young man, surnamed Li and named Yan, is a traveler. A year ago, he traveled to this world of martial arts. Fortunately, he bound a mini-game on the hook. In the game, there is a villain just like Li Yan. As long as you arrange things for the villain, he will keep repeating them. Li Yan will become stronger synchronously. For example, arranging medical skills on the hook resulted in Li Yan's medical skills becoming increasingly exquisite. Li Yan was originally a medical student and came from a medical family. From childhood to adulthood, he has been deeply influenced by his ears and eyes, and has excellent medical skills. So, Li Yan opened a small medical clinic. With the help of hanging up games, Li Yan's medical skills have made rapid progress. Gradually, Li Yan became a famous divine doctor in the Wudang Mountains area. The medicine will cure the illness. Rebirth from the dead. Even Wudang leader Zhang Sanfeng would occasionally come to the small clinic to discuss medical issues with Li Yan. After reaching the pinnacle of medical skills, Li Yan began to learn martial arts and has been practicing for 3 months now. This is also due to the basic martial arts learned during our conversations with Zhang Sanfeng. Every time a patient is treated, they can receive a certain amount of longevity yuan, at least 1 day, and at most 1 year. Consuming lifespan yuan can accelerate idle mini-games. Unconsciously, without any acceleration, Li Yan had become the pinnacle of his skill. Li Yan now has a lifespan of 213 years. He currently has no plans to spend Shouyuan to accelerate the idle game and improve his martial arts level. When accelerating medical skills, after multiple experiments, Li Yan found that the stronger he was, the higher the benefits of acceleration. Especially the understanding of medical skills and martial arts. Li Yan realized that his understanding of martial arts was not enough, and acceleration was a disadvantage. Upon reaching the innate realm, Li Yan was confident that he would have a deeper understanding of martial arts. When the time comes, accelerating the idle game will definitely result in twice the result with half the effort. The most crucial thing. Li Yan currently doesn't need too much martial arts cultivation. The current level of martial arts is just right. In fact, Li Yan really enjoys his current life. Comfortable. After breaking through the innate realm, Li Yan was ready to leave Wudang Mountain and go see other places. The one being practiced in the mini-game of hanging up now is Wudang Jiuyang Gong, which is also about to be completed. The Wudang 9 Yang Gong was written once when Li Yan cured Zhang Sanfeng of his hidden dangers. With gratitude, Zhang Sanfeng passed on this martial arts internal skill to Li Yan. According to Zhang Sanfeng's words, the divine doctor also needs to focus on martial arts for self-defense. Wudang Jiuyang Gong is an internal martial arts skill at the master level, which is enough for Li Yan to cultivate to a master level. Not to mention, Zhang Sanfeng believes that Li Yan has a great talent in martial arts and has a heart of cherishing his talents. He hopes that he can balance medical and martial arts skills. Of course, human time is limited. Zhang Sanfeng is still more optimistic about Li Yan's medical skills. Practicing martial arts is enough for self-defense. Li Yan also discovered that Zhang Sanfeng in this world was indeed powerful. He appeared to be a great master, but through the technique of observing qi, he was basically certain that Zhang Sanfeng was at least in the realm of heaven and humanity. In this world of martial arts, the division of martial arts realm is very simple. Not entering the mainstream, acquired, innate, master, great master, heavenly and human, and land immortals. The land immortal is the strongest known to Li Yan. Legend has it that Zhang Sanfeng is a land deity, but he has never acknowledged or denied it. The only confirmed land deity by Li Yan is the founder of Zen Buddhism, also known as the Dharma Patriarch. I learned this from Zhang Sanfeng's mouth. We should also find someone to come back and help. Li Yan stretched lazily. As the reputation grows, more and more people come here to seek medical treatment. A person, sometimes they really can't get busy. Due to the ability to obtain longevity yuan, even for a day's worth, it is very good, so Li Yan did not refuse to treat the patient. However, for patients who have a causal relationship with Li Yan, there is no yuan reward for his treatment. It's like there is no yuan reward for Li Yan poisoning someone or asking others to poison him, and he comes to treat him. The greater the difficulty of treatment, the more longevity coins will be obtained. So far, the most time Li Yan has obtained yuan is once a year, when he rescued an old man from the brink of death. The name of a divine doctor is derived from it. As long as Dr. Li is mentioned in this area, everyone shows gratitude and respect. Over the past year, anyone who has fallen ill has been cured by Dr. Li. Next, Li Yan tidied up the small clinic and prepared to go to the town 10 miles away to buy some daily necessities. It's said to be a purchase, but in fact, you don't need to spend a penny. It's all from the vendors who were treated by Li Yan. Li Yan is also a bit embarrassed, he has been prostituted for almost a year. So, for these people, the cost of diagnosis is basically charged. After all, obtaining longevity yuan is the most crucial. Night falls. On the quiet mountain road. A carriage, walking slowly. Li Yan drove the carriage alone, heading back towards the small clinic. This trip has returned with a full load. Suddenly, Li Yan stopped. I saw a young woman with light steps, who seemed to be a practitioner. She quickly rushed towards Li Yan, as if finding a life-saving herb. Are you Dr. Li? The young woman approached Li Yan and asked with a slightly calm voice. Are you? Li Yan looked at the young woman and deliberately asked. It's obvious. Li Yan has recognized who the woman is. Ren Ruyi. A very powerful female assassin. My original name was Ren Xiaofeng. Li Yan is not surprised at all why Ren Ruyi appeared here. This world of martial arts is like this. Even if he saw Xia Yozi on Wudang Mountain, Li Yan wouldn't be surprised. It seems that Ren Ruyi has been poisoned. Li Yan can confirm this point. Can you help me? Ren Ruyi asked sincerely. Not long ago, while carrying out a mission in Wuxia, Ren Ruyi had to take Wandu Jia and lost all his skills within 7 days. She is being pursued by Lu Qingqiang from the Six Paths Hall of Wuxia. Lu Qingqiang is a confidant of Zhao Ji and also a must-kill person for Ren Ruyi. Lu Qingqiang kills Ren Ruyi's sisters Ling Long. If it weren't for the complete loss of skills, Ren Ruyi wouldn't need to be so embarrassed. She is at least a born strong person. Ren Ruyi heard that there was a miraculous doctor named Li in Wudang Mountain, so she hurried over to find out that the person was not there. She then asked the nearby generation and found out that Li Yan was driving a carriage to the town. So, with this scene now, as long as Dr. Li helps her detoxify, all problems will be easily solved. Haha. You can't run away. Not far away, there came a proud burst of laughter. P.S. New book seeking data. Thank you. It's not easy to open books during the Chinese New Year, please provide more support. Chapter 2. Resolutely Kill and Slay, Ren Ruyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not good. Ren Ruyi didn't expect Lu Qingqiang to catch up so quickly. She thought she had let go of him, but ended up letting him catch up. I can only say, Ren Ruyi's luck is not very good. Lu Qingqiang was blinded to the direction of her escape. Divine Doctor, you go first. Ren Ruyi quickly shouted, I'll distract them. She is well aware that Lu Qingqiang and others may have even killed Dr. Li. Although Dr. Li has superb medical skills, Ren Ruyi does not believe that he can help her detoxify in such a situation. This poison is not ordinary. To detoxify, it will take some time. It's obvious. I don't have that much time now. Despair. No need. Li Yan said. With Ren Ruyi's current level of poisoning, once you help her detoxify, you can obtain at least 7 days of longevity yuan. This cannot be let go. As for the people who were chasing Ren Ruyi, Li Yan didn't care at all. In no time, 6 men in black rushed over and surrounded Ren Ruyi and Li Yan, led by Lu Qingqiang. However, Lu Qingqiang did not immediately order the arrest of Ren Ruyi. I've seen Dr. Li. Lu Qingqiang first respectfully shouted to Li Yan, and then his gaze fell on Ren Ruyi's face. He said, this woman is the key criminal that our 6th Dao Tang is going to arrest. I wonder if Dr. Li can do something convenient. The name of Dr. Li spread to the state of Wu half a year ago, and Lu Qingqiang was still very clear about it. Many high-ranking officials in Wuxia have connections with Dr. Li. If you don't use force, then don't use force. Offending a divine doctor has serious consequences. Especially according to rumors, Dr. Li can bring back life from the dead. This has made many high-ranking officials in Wu country pay more attention to Dr. Li. Upon seeing this, Ren Ruyi was taken aback and greatly surprised. Unexpectedly, the name of Dr. Li made Lu Qingqiang feel intimidated. She is my patient. Li Yan said. Lu Qingqiang's heart sank, but he still had a respectful expression on the surface. He asked, I don't know how Dr. Li can hand over this woman to me and go back to work. Speaking of the last 4 words, he emphasized his tone. Upon hearing these words, Ren Ruyi's heart sank and she couldn't help but look at Li Yan. She has lost all her skills, and it is impossible for her to escape again, let alone protect Dr. Li. Although Ren Ruyi is a killer, she has her own bottom line. Dr. Li was in such a situation because of her. Lu Qingqiang wants to use the name of the 6 Paths Hall to force Dr. Li to be appointed as Ruyi as soon as possible. Fix her. Li Yan said slowly, this matter has nothing to do with me. This. Lu Qingqiang's heart sank even more. Once Ren Ruyi is detoxified and her skills are restored, it will be too difficult for the 6 Paths Hall to capture this woman. Many people in the 6 Paths Hall died at the hands of Ren Ruyi. Upon hearing this, Ren Ruyi was overjoyed and did not expect that Dr. Li would answer Lu Qingxiang like this. At least, Ren Ruyi believes that Dr. Li's medical ethics are definitely not a problem. The sick are the greatest. Not every doctor can stick to it. As long as his skills are restored, Ren Ruyi can handle the remaining tasks on his own, naturally without the involvement of Dr. Li, nor will he be allowed to participate. As for this kindness, Ren Ruyi will find a way to repay it. Dr. Li, what if I say no? Behind Lu Qingxiang came a domineering voice. Zhao Ji. Upon hearing the sound, Ren Ruyi knew who was coming, even if she didn't look. Soon. 10 people in black gathered around. Adding 6 people including Lu Qingxiang, a total of 16, they surrounded Ren Ruyi and Li Yan. Not even a fly can fly out. I'll go back with you. Before Zhao Ji could speak, Ren Ruyi took a step forward and said coldly. Ren Ruyi is well aware of Zhao Ji's strength and is a warrior in the acquired realm, obviously not something she can resist now. As for Dr. Li, Ren Ruyi did not believe that this young man, who was young but had excellent medical skills, could even be so skilled in martial arts. Human time is limited. You can only choose between medical skills and martial arts. This is the norm for humans. In Ren Ruyi's eyes, Li Yan was at most in his early 20s. At first, Ren Ruyi was extremely shocked to see Li Yan so young and become a divine doctor. But the carriage under Li Yan told Ren Ruyi that the young man in front of him was Dr. Li. Li Yan's carriage is unique. The appearance is very modern and very different from contemporary carriages, making it easy to distinguish. At least, people in this area of Wudang Mountain say so. As long as you find that modern carriage, you can find Dr. Li. Dr. Li, this was voluntarily done by her. Zhao Ji gave Li Yan a proud glance. It is undeniable that Li Yan's medical skills are superb. However, the most important thing now is to bring Ren Ruyi back. Once Dr. Li is allowed to cure Ren Ruyi, this task cannot be completed. Even if he offends Dr. Li, Zhao Ji will complete this task. Not to mention, Zhao Ji is not Lu Qingxiang, so he is not afraid of offending Dr. Li. There are many divine doctors in the world. If you don't look for Dr. Li, you can also find Dr. Zhang, Dr. Wang, and so on. You're right. Li Yan said, but before that, I'll cure her first. Before he could finish speaking, Li Yan raised his hand and 11 silver needles came out in response. Ah! Ren Ruyi suddenly let out a shout. I saw 9 silver needles precisely piercing the 9 key acupoints on Ren Ruyi's back. Puff! Ren Ruyi spat out black blood in one gulp. You have recovered from your illness, remember to come and pay for the diagnosis. After speaking, Li Yan drove the carriage and leisurely passed between the 2 black-clothed men. The 2 black-clad men stood motionless, like wooden carvings, without stopping Li Yan's carriage. They have been stabbed in the neck by a silver needle, sealing the acupoint and unable to move. This scene came too quickly for anyone to react. Ren Ruyi first regained her senses, wiped the back of her hand against the glue mouth, and only then did she realize that her power had been restored. How impressive! Ren Ruyi sighed in her heart at the superb medical skills of Dr. Li. Kill! Ren Ruyi felt a chill in her heart and rushed towards Lu Qingxiang. Not good. Zhao Ji immediately regained his senses and had no intention of paying attention to Li Yan, who was far away. He immediately rushed towards Ren Ruyi. However, Zhao Ji and other postnatal warriors, how could they possibly be opponents of Ren Ruyi, this innate powerhouse? When Lu Qingxiang instinctively swung his sword towards Ren Ruyi extended her jade hand, grabbed the sword and sealed her throat, easily killing Lu Qingxiang. Lu Qingxiang died without closing his eyes. Less than 20 breaths. As Zhao Ji was knocked down by a sword, there was no one standing in front of Ren Ruyi. All dead. One move is fatal. Ling Long, you can rest in peace now. After Ren Ruyi finished repairing her knife and made sure that none of them were alive, she glanced at the bodies of Zhao Ji and others and murmured. Dr. Li. Ren Ruyi glanced at the back of the carriage and then turned around to leave. Chapter 3 Ren Ruyi. To have a child with Dr. Li Shen. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. At this moment, Ren Ruyi was deeply impressed by the medical skills of Dr. Li. That's amazing. The silver needle pierced her acupoint and effortlessly forced out all the toxins in her body. This move broadened Ren Ruyi's horizons. This Dr. Li is still a master. Ren Ruyi has a new perspective on Dr. Li. No wonder he's so indifferent. Ren Ruyi is basically certain that Dr. Li is definitely an acquired martial artist, without any accidents and still at the peak. The internal power attached to the silver needle will not deceive people. Just relying on Zhao Ji and others, it is impossible to retain Dr. Li. A small medical clinic. When Li Yan drove the carriage back home, it was already dark as ink. In his eyes, the appearance of Ren Ruyi was just a minor incident and he didn't pay much attention to it. 10 days of longevity, here we are. This is the most important thing. And more than he expected. Sometimes, it takes only a morning to earn 10 days of longevity yuan. A few silver needles easily obtain 10 days of longevity yuan, making a steady profit without losing. As for the fate of Zhao Ji and others, Li Yan is not worried at all and will definitely die, so he naturally does not need to take action. Dr. Li. Not far away, Ren Ruyi's voice came. After a moment, Ren Ruyi stood in front of Dr. Li. Miss, what else is there to do? Li Yan deliberately asked. I came here specifically to thank Dr. Li for his life-saving kindness. Although Ren Ruyi had a cold and beautiful face, a hint of gratitude flashed through her beautiful eyes at this moment. The silver needle has already forced her out and cleaned it thoroughly. Return these silver needles to Dr. Li. Speaking, Ren Ruyi handed a delicate needle box to Li Yan. You keep it. Li Yan didn't take the silver needle and said, you have paid for all of these. This. Upon hearing this, Ren Ruyi was taken aback for a moment, but without much thought, she put away the needle box and turned the conversation around, saying, I don't know how much the diagnosis fee is. Miss, do you have anything important to do next? Li Yan asked. What's important? Ren Ruyi was very surprised, but still didn't think much and said, not yet. Anyway, Linglong's revenge has already been avenged. Ren Ruyi is left with finding the culprit who killed the queen. Or, in other words, search for sufficient evidence. Finding evidence is a matter that cannot be rushed. Would you be willing to be my bodyguard for a year? This is the diagnosis fee. Li Yan said. Be the bodyguard of Dr. Li. Ren Ruyi never expected such an answer. However, upon closer examination, although Dr. Li is a martial artist with decent strength, it would be troublesome if he encountered those unreasonable masters. For example, Ren Ruyi had heard of a certain Shui divine doctor being violently beaten by some male and female dual evil spirits, which left a psychological shadow. Sure. Ren Ruyi said seriously. Stay at the clinic of the divine doctor, perhaps you can gather useful information. That's a deal. Li Yan said. Next. With the help of Ren Ruyi, Li Yan unloaded all the goods on the carriage to the small clinic. Although being alone can be easy, with Ren Ruyi, it becomes even easier. That's it. Ren Ruyi stayed at the small clinic and became a beautiful scenic spot. However, on a regular basis, Ren Ruyi would also help with cleaning or decoction. As for picking up medicine or entertaining patients, there is no need for Ren Ruyi to do it. In fact, those patients don't even need to be entertained, they are very conscious of queuing up and waiting. It's not Li Yan who came here to seek medical treatment, but they are seeking the help of Dr. Li. Those unruly patients, whom Ren Ruyi had never seen before, made her feel like she was unnecessary. No use for it. Gradually, Ren Ruyi got used to this kind of life and found it pretty good, so she didn't have to fight and kill every day. Just. The queen's revenge will still be avenged. Ren Ruyi plans to avenge the empress in a year's time. After this period of inquiry, Ren Ruyi can basically determine who killed the queen. Killing that person is still a bit difficult and requires a long-term plan. He truly deserves to be a divine doctor. On this day, Ren Ruyi stood behind Li Yan, silently watching the incredibly secure figure behind him. So far, Ren Ruyi has seen Li Yan treat hundreds of people, without exception. All of them are cured by medicine, as if there is no disease that Li Shen cannot cure. This gave Ren Ruyi a new understanding of Li Yan's medical skills. The most crucial thing. As soon as Ren Ruyi thought of avenging the empress, she naturally thought of her dying wish to have a child. Having children is not something that can be achieved solely by a woman. At least, we still need a man. I wonder if Dr. Li will agree. This is not the first time Ren Ruyi has had this idea. Dr. Li clearly meets Ren Ruyi's aesthetic and requirements. Li Yan is very handsome and gives people a gentle and elegant gentleman demeanor. Ren Ruyi didn't know how beautiful Jiang Feng, the most beautiful man in the world, was, but she felt that compared to Jiang Feng, Li Yan should not be much worse. If you have a child with Li Yan, then the child will never be too bad. Of course. This is just an idea from Ren Ruyi and has not been put into action yet. Dr. Li showed kindness to Ren Ruyi, and she didn't want to scare Li Yan for the time being. Time passes day by day. In the blink of an eye. A month has passed. Ren Ruyi has completely adapted to the life of a small medical clinic, and even has no desire for Shu. Especially in the second half of the month, it was the happiest day for Ren Ruyi. There is no other reason. Every night, Ren Ruyi had an additional task, which was to practice swordsmanship with Li Yan. It's night. After sparring swordsmanship with Ren Ruyi, Li Yan took a shower and began his meditation. He plans to break through to the innate realm. It's also time. The Wudang Nine Yang Gong has long been practiced to perfection. The hanging game cultivates Tai Chi sword technique. The Tai Chi sword technique was also passed down from Zhang Sanfeng to Li Yan, giving him sufficient self-defense skills. After these days of hanging up, the Tai Chi sword technique has long been cultivated to the realm of small achievements, and it will take some time to reach the realm of great achievements. Tai Chi sword is ultimately a master-level martial art, and it is not easy to cultivate it to perfection. The so called innate refers to the cultivation of innate true Qi. To condense internal energy into innate true Qi, a certain amount of internal energy is required to achieve it. The martial artist who cultivates 3,000 strands of internal power can attempt to condense innate true Qi. Li Yan's Dantian has long condensed nearly 10,000 strands of internal energy. It is rumored that 10,000 strands of internal power are the limit of the acquired realm. Now it seems that this rumor is true. This is also the reason why Li Yan has not yet broken through to his innate state. 9,996 strands. Li Yan carefully felt the internal power of Dantian and couldn't help but hesitate. Do you want to accelerate it a bit? Although treating the patient can earn longevity, Li Yan cherishes the longevity he currently possesses. Chapter 4. Breakthrough, Innate. Ren Ruyi, your wish comes true. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As long as you live long enough, everything is not a problem. It's like Emperor Shi Tian. Under the long-term honing, even mediocre talents can become geniuses. Let's accelerate for 10 years and give it a try. In the end, Li Yan had the determination. Consuming 10 years of lifespan yuan is still within Li Yan's affordability range. You made up your mind to challenge countless strands of internal power to achieve innate success, so day and night, you continuously practiced Wudang Gong. In the blink of an eye, a year passed, and your internal power finally increased by 1 strand, reaching 997 strands. For the next 3 years, you will continue to practice Wudang Jiuyangong, but unfortunately, the bottleneck has reached and you cannot go any further. Your internal strength will never increase. You don't believe in evil, and it took you 3 more years. Your efforts did not disappoint those with intentions, and eventually you broke through the bottleneck and gained 998 strands of internal power. Just as you were overjoyed, a new bottleneck appeared again. Unconsciously, a year passed and your internal strength eventually stopped at 998 strands. You still don't give up. This year, you no longer continue to cultivate, but instead try to use medicine to enter martial arts. As a result, you successfully break through the shackles of the bottleneck, and your internal strength reaches 9,999 strands, just 1 step away from 10,000. In the following year, you will continue to practice medicine and martial arts. With a glimmer of enlightenment, if you want to break through 10,000 strands of internal power, relying solely on your own cultivation is not enough. You also need some external strength. Is it innate true qi? Li Yan slowly opened his eyes and murmured a sentence. Although it consumed 10 years of lifespan yuan, he still has over 200 years of lifespan yuan, which will not have any impact. Just to break through to 10,000 strands of internal power, one needs a trace of innate true qi. However, where does the innate true qi come from, a martial artist after birth? Only by breaking through the innate realm can one possess innate true qi. Dead loop. However, Li Yan is uncertain. His understanding of martial arts is still very superficial for the time being. It is not easy to achieve perfect innate qualities. Otherwise, everyone can break through to a perfect innate state. So far, not many people have tried to take this hopeless path. Even though Grandmaster Bodhidharma had tried it before, he ultimately chose to give up. In most cases, by cultivating 3,000 strands of internal power, one can attempt to break through innate abilities. According to Zhang Sanfeng, there are very few martial artists who can break through their innate abilities with more than 5,000 strands of internal power. As for those who break through to the innate level with more than 9,000 strands of internal strength, it has not yet appeared. It seems that we can only ask for help. As a divine doctor, Li Yan naturally found a solution. Seeking the help of a pure woman from the innate realm, Li Yan quickly obtained a trace of innate true qi and used it as a breakthrough point to achieve 10,000 strands of internal power, achieving innate success. Ren Ruyi. Li Yan thought of the female assassin who lived next door. He believes that Ren Ruyi will not refuse. Dr. Li, do you want to eat late-night snacks? Outside the door, there came the voice of Ren Ruyi. Eat. Li Yan let out a natural shout. Usually, when practicing martial arts at night, both of them replenish their energy, and the best choice is to have a night snack or something. Ha! Miss Ren, what day is today? Li Yan arrived at the dinner table and was a bit surprised. This is the first time he has seen a wine jug placed on the table. Li Yan doesn't really like drinking alcohol. A 1-month anniversary. Ren Ruyi rarely gives a charming smile, which is very charming. Is that right? Li Yan showed a sudden realization on his face. Ren Ruyi stayed at the small clinic for a whole month. Time flies so fast. Li Yan sighed. Yes. Ren Ruyi expressed her feelings. I can't drink too much. Li Yan sat down and looked at Ren Ruyi, who was pouring wine for him, and reminded him. That's half a cup. After speaking, Ren Ruyi poured half a glass of wine for Li Yan, but her heart was filled with joy. It's easy to get drunk, that's right. Getting drunk and causing trouble. This is the best solution that Ren Ruyi has come up with. Being able to have children with Dr. Li without the need for Dr. Li to take responsibility. Ren Ruyi is well aware that she will eventually leave the small clinic. The reason is very simple. Not only avenging the queen, but more importantly, she is a killer. She has many enemies. Staying here will only add trouble to Dr. Li's disciple. Next. The two chatted about martial arts while drinking and eating. Sure enough. After finishing half a glass of wine, Li Yan pretended to be dizzy and said to go back to his room to rest first. As a divine doctor, if he feels dizzy, Ren Ruyi cannot see any flaws. Ren Ruyi did not obstruct and kindly helped Li Yan back. As soon as Ren Ruyi helped Li Yan to the bedside, he collapsed and fell into a deep sleep. Do you trust me that much? Ren Ruyi looked at Li Yan, who was sleeping soundly, and an inexplicable emotion surged in her heart. The feeling of being trusted is always beautiful. Especially she is still a killer. At this moment, Ren Ruyi had a faint heartbeat. Dr. Li is a good person. If you really want to be with him, it's also a great choice. Unfortunately. At the thought of her identity, Ren Ruyi decisively cut off the idea. Then give him a child. Ren Ruyi had a decision in her heart. The next day. Early in the morning. It should be able to break through to the innate level. Li Yan woke up early and began practicing. His dantian has added a hint of innate true qi. We still need to consume lifespan to accelerate. Li Yan felt the situation in dantian and made the most basic judgment. So. He sat cross-legged. You are ecstatic as you face the imminent realization of the innate realm, but things are not as simple as expected. In the blink of an eye, 10 years have passed, and the expected 10,000 strands of internal strength have not appeared. You start to ponder, like a bitter meditation, 10 years have passed, and in the end, you realize that you have returned to simplicity. The first 10,000 strands of internal power cannot be condensed, but rely on the degeneration of a trace of innate true qi. You continued to meditate, and as expected, a year later, you finally condense the 10,000 strands of internal energy. Suddenly, the wind and clouds surged, and the heavens and earth turned pale. The 10,000 strands of internal energy formed an energy vortex, condensing a strand of innate true qi. At this point, you have broken through and stepped into the innate realm, and another year has passed. Finally, you have stabilized the innate realm and reached the mid-innate stage, with a true qi quantity of 1335 strands. Cool. Li Yan laughed heartily before slowly opening his eyes. As for the consumption of a full 22 years of longevity yuan, Li Yan doesn't care at all. You should know that many warriors, throughout their lives, are unable to step into their innate world. Not to mention, Li Yan's innate realm is much stronger than his peers. With 5,000 strands of internal strength, there are very few people who step into the innate world. Li Yan stepped into the innate world with 10,000 strands of internal energy, and the quality of innate true qi far surpasses other innate powerhouses. Li Yan is confident that even a top-notch innate powerhouse may not be able to defeat him. The innate peak is possessing over 3,000 strands of true qi. Generally speaking, if you cultivate 3,000 strands of true qi, it is difficult to obtain it again, and you can only find ways to break through to a higher level. For example, at the level of a master. Of course. This varies from person to person. Legend has it that someone cultivates 9,000 threads of innate true qi, achieving the realm of a master who is invincible compared to peers and even able to fight against ordinary great masters. Li Yan really wants to give it a try, cultivate the legendary limit of 10,000 strands of innate true qi, and then break through to the level of a master. There are idle games and show you an acceleration, so if you don't try, you'll lose a lot. From now on, Li Yan needs to accumulate a large amount of longevity yuan to challenge the legendary realm of the Grandmaster. Congratulations. Ren Ruyi walked in from the door and felt the change in breath on Li Yan's body just now, and immediately smiled. Thank you. Li Yan smiled knowingly. Everything is in silence. Alright, it's time to open the door for a consultation. Li Yan went to wash up. How can one accumulate a large amount of longevity without seeing more patients? Can't stop for a moment. Chapter 5. Dr. Li and Zhang Sanfeng are unforgettable friends. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A small medical clinic. Dr. Li, why did you open so late today? Li Yan had just opened the door of the small clinic when the outside was filled with people. There is a happy occasion. Li Yan said. A happy event. Upon hearing these words, everyone immediately became curious. Come one by one. After speaking, Li Yan returned to his position. When everyone saw the situation, they quieted down to avoid disturbing Dr. Li's diagnosis. One morning, it's gone. There are still many people. However, Li Yan asked them all to go back for dinner first. So, the front of the small clinic only became clean. There are many people today. Ren Ruyi stood behind Li Yan and sighed. This is the day she has seen the most people. Not much. Li Yan said indifferently. At its peak, it was more than twice as many as it is now, with over 300 people. Unfortunately, I can't help. Ren Ruyi said with some regret. Perhaps, with that layer of male-female relationship between the two, Ren Ruyi's thoughts began to shift. It's okay, I can do it alone. Li Yan said. These patients are all Zhou Yuan. More is better. By the way, you can open an inn next to it. Ren Ruyi's words changed. She had long noticed that many patients came from far away. If there were an inn here, business would definitely be booming. Not to mention anything, just having lunch is enough to make a big profit. The food of over 100 people is definitely not at a loss. I don't know how to be a clone. Li Yan naturally thought about it, but didn't have that thought. No, why don't you come? Li Yan suddenly realized something. Me. Ren Ruyi quickly shook her head and said, I'm not suitable. She is a killer, she can't be so high profile as the boss lady. Even if she becomes the shadow of Li Yan, she wouldn't open any inn. There's no way. Li Yan said indifferently, money cannot be earned. That's also right. Ren Ruyi does not deny this statement, just like the same person cannot be killed completely. Dr. Li. Outside the door, a familiar voice came from Zhang Zhenren. Li Yan suddenly looked over and was a bit surprised. It's a bit unbelievable that Zhang Sanfeng will come over at this time. What's up? Li Yan asked curiously. Ha! Breakthrough. Zhang Sanfeng was about to speak and couldn't help but be surprised. He remembers that Li Yan had only been practicing martial arts for over 4 months before breaking through to the innate realm. There's no one else with this talent. Luck. Li Yan smiled slightly and didn't forget to take a glance at Ren Ruyi. I see. Zhang Sanfeng immediately understood, laughed heartily, and then looked at Ren Ruyi before saying with deep meaning, Dr. Li is a great person. I understand. Ren Ruyi naturally knew what kind of person Zhang Sanfeng was, and immediately respectfully said. Zhang Sanfeng nodded. He is not a gossip person, this is between Li Yan and Ren Ruyi, even though he can see that Ren Ruyi's identity is not simple. No woman in the innate realm is simple. By the way, my disciple is coming back and planning to celebrate. You must come. Zhang Sanfeng looked at Li Yan, changed his tone, and said seriously. Is it Jiangxueaccompanied, the 5th disciple? Li Yan asked. Although Li Yan had known about these things for a long time, Zhang Sanfeng once mentioned them and naturally asked. Zhang Sanfeng and Li Yan are now considered close friends who forget their years. Li Yan called out to his 5th disciple Jiangxueaccompanied without any inconvenience. At least, Zhang Sanfeng didn't feel anything inappropriate. Yes. Zhang Sanfeng nodded and exclaimed, he's finally coming back. Congratulations. Li Yan smiled and said. Zhang Zuishan is definitely the disciple that Zhang Sanfeng values the most. 10 years no see, there must be a lot to talk about. Just 10 days later, remember to come. Zhang Sanfeng solemnly emphasized it. Definitely. Li Yan said. And bring this girl along. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Ren Ruyi quickly and gratefully said. Not everyone can attend the banquet held by Zhang Sanfeng. Then I'll leave first. After speaking, Zhang Sanfeng drifted away like a fairy. Zhang Jinren is very strong. Ren Ruyi looked in the direction of Zhang Sanfeng's departure and couldn't help but sigh. She has only heard of rumors about Zhang Sanfeng. Seeing is better than hearing. Having close contact with Zhang Sanfeng is the only way to experience his return to simplicity and strength. Li Yan nodded undeniably. However, Dr. Li has enough face to invite Zhang Jinren personally. Ren Ruyi only realized Li Yan's extraordinary qualities. If it were just superb medical skills, it would be unlikely to impress someone like Zhang Sanfeng so much. Not bad. Li Yan said. Let's eat first. Ren Ruyi said. Let me hide for a moment. Suddenly, a young girl rushed into the small clinic outside the door. Ren Ruyi was quick-witted and reached out to grab the girl's back collar. Please. The girl didn't expect that Ren Ruyi, the beautiful woman, would be a master, and immediately showed a pleading expression on her face. Let her go first. Li Yan saw the girl's appearance clearly and was a bit surprised. It turned out to be the little princess of Wu Kingdom. Ying. At this moment, Ren Ruyi also saw clearly who the girl was and had a slight surprise. Dr. Li. The girl broke free from Ren Ruyi's hand and obediently stood in front of Li Yan, shouting respectfully. She once had the chance to meet Li Yan and knew that he was Dr. Li, which is also why she appeared here. Ying escaped from the palace. However, Li Yan saw Ying for the first time. What happened? Li Yan deliberately asked, even if he guessed that Ying had escaped from the palace. Ying hesitated for a moment and pleaded, Dr. Li, please help me. After a pause, I don't want to go on an envoy to Anghua. On an envoy to Anghua. Ren Ruyi only remembered something. The current emperor of Wuxia is still serving as a hostage in Anghua. The reason why Wu Kingdom sent the little princess on an envoy to An Kingdom was definitely to redeem the emperor of Wu Kingdom. At the same time, many people wearing uniforms walked from afar. Li Yan recognized that those people were all the palace guards of Wu Kingdom. Did you escape before starting your mission? Li Yan couldn't help but smile in his heart. Li Yanshu didn't know, but Ying was moved by Li Yan, the divine doctor, the first time she saw him. Not only does he look handsome, but he also has superb medical skills, making it difficult not to be tempted. Especially Ying is in the early stages of love. 16 years old is the most fantastical age for girls. I've seen Dr. Li. The uniformed man led by Li Yan approached him and respectfully shouted. He is very clear about the fame and status of Li Yan and Li Shini in the Wu Kingdom, even if he does not belong to the Wu Kingdom. For Dr. Li, the uniformed man dare not be as bold and rude as Zhao Ji. What's up with you? Li Yan knowingly asked. This. The uniformed man led by Li hesitated for a moment and said, Please help persuade the little princess, Dr. Li. After speaking, the uniformed man took a step forward and, in a voice only audible to the two, told Dr. Li about the little princess's mission. P.S. During the Chinese New Year, there will be no illusions. During the new book period, there will be 500 fresh flowers per change, and there will be no ceiling on the top. Monthly pass, review, reward, extra. Request data. Thank you very much. Chapter 6. Ying runs away for Dr. Li. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The people in the palace all know about the little princess's mission to Anghua, so there is no need to hide it. However, in public, it is not convenient to say that the little princess has fled. Dr. Li, do you still remember the person you tried to see? Although Yang Ying was still very simple at this moment, he was not foolish. He quickly said, that person is me. After a pause, actually, I was sick again and came to see you. At the end, she felt a little guilty and dared not look at Li Yan directly. Yang Ying has heard that Dr. Li must treat any illness, as long as he is not an evil person. Yang Ying considers himself not a villain and should be able to temporarily stay at the small clinic. So it's you. Li Yan was a bit surprised when he heard this. That was 6 months ago when he was specifically invited to the imperial palace of Wuxia to seek medical treatment. At that time, the name of Dr. Li had not yet spread, and the imperial physicians in the Wuxia palace did not trust Li Yan's medical skills, so they specifically tested his strength. If it were normal, Li Yan would definitely not go. But when you know it's a terminal illness, you need to discuss it. I treated the people in the palace of Wuxia and managed to recover, ultimately earning an 11-month lifespan. If it weren't for the sake of Zhou Yuan's face, Li Yan would really disdain to treat the nobles of Wu Kingdom. The test before seeing a doctor is to diagnose the pulse. In order not to waste time, Li Yan directly performed a golden thread pulse through the air, which was a full 20 meters away, shocking everyone on the spot, including the imperial physician. Li Yan's diagnosis is very accurate, even stating the gender and age of the patients, including some hidden diseases that the imperial doctors did not detect. Li Yan didn't expect that the person who tried to diagnose was actually Yang Ying, but upon closer examination, it is still very likely, after all, age and gender are matched. At that time, Li Yan diagnosed Yang Ying through the screen, so he didn't see Yang Ying's appearance, otherwise he could have recognized her at that time. However, this also indicates that Yang Ying's position in the palace is not very good. The grandiose little princess of a country has become a subject for testing and diagnosis. If those guards were not very polite, Li Yanjun would immediately leave Yang Ying behind, just like Zhao Ji appeared that day with a sour expression, and he directly cured Ren Ruyi. However, the other party is so respectful and polite now, but Li Yan is a bit passive. As the saying goes, reach out and don't hit a smiling person. She is indeed sick. Without much thought, Li Yan said, give me an hour's time. Thank you, Dr. Li. The uniformed man led by him quickly said gratefully. Go in. After speaking, Li Yan glanced at Yang Ying. Oh. Yang Ying lowered her head and obediently followed behind Li Yan. Ren Ruyi did not enter and stayed outside the door to prevent the guards from entering recklessly. Are you a little princess with too little status? Li Yan too didn't respond and said a word. Yes. Yang Ying nodded. Who made her mother's status humble? Last time I diagnosed you, didn't they treat you? Li Yan asked. I've treated a little bit. Yang Ying said, it should not have been eradicated. Do you really not want to go on a mission? Li Yan's conversation changed. Yang Ying quickly nodded, just like a chicken pecking at rice. Didn't you voluntarily go on a mission? Li Yan asked. This. Yang Ying was taken aback and said, I regret it. Regret. Li Yan stopped and turned his head to look at Yang Ying. Upon seeing this, Yang Ying quickly avoided Li Yan's gaze and then lowered her head, saying, I originally planned to go on an envoy to Anghua. The Empress will promise me one thing, and I will be free. Now. They are simply bad people. Yang Ying said fiercely. Bad guys. Li Yan was a bit surprised. This plot is not right. Li Yan shouldn't have awakened so early. They haven't even left the palace yet. I have a guard by my side named Jiang Yuyan, who turned out to be an undercover agent inserted by Prince N of Danyang. I accidentally saw a letter from Jiang Yuyan that he didn't have time to burn. It mentioned that I was on an envoy to Anghua and didn't want me to succeed, as I would die halfway through. Yang Ying slowly recounted what had happened during this period. Li Yan just listened attentively. Sure enough. This world of martial arts is a bit different. What surprised Li Yan the most, Yang Ying voluntarily went on an envoy not for Zhang Qingyun, but for Dr. Li. As a princess, Yang Ying's marriage is not free. She wishfully believed that as long as she completed the mission, she would have the opportunity to marry Dr. Li. In fact, the royal family of Wu Kingdom does not mind using Yang Ying to marry Li Yan and establish a relationship. This mission to negotiate with Anghua and rescue the Emperor of Wu is an imperative, even on the surface. Result. Among the many royal families, only Yang Ying is willing to serve as an envoy. So. With this scene now. Ah! Suddenly, Yang Ying exclaimed in surprise and realized that she had let out a slip of the tongue and had revealed everything about her mission to Anghua for the sake of Dr. Li. This is Yang Ying's heartfelt words. In the next moment, Yang Ying lowered her head and her face turned red, very cute. Li Yan just gave a faint smile. A girl of 16, who doesn't embrace spring. Li Yan can understand this and didn't take it too seriously. Li Yan still has a good impression of Yang Ying's honesty and simplicity. Stupid, cute. Go in, take off your clothes. Li Yan stood at the entrance of the treatment room and glanced at Yang Ying. Ah! Yang Ying exclaimed in surprise again, are you completely detached? Upon hearing this, Li Yan shook his head and said, expose your back. Oh! Yang Ying breathed a sigh of relief. After a moment. I'm fine now. Yang Ying's voice came from the treatment room. Before he could finish speaking, 6 silver needles landed on Yang Ying's back. Breaking through the innate realm, Li Yan's technique of using qi to control needles became more proficient. Gradually, 6 silver needles are starting to turn black. Indeed, I was poisoned. Li Yan murmured a sentence. Dr. Li, what are you saying? Yang Ying asked in confusion. You don't need to go on an envoy for now. Li Yan made a decision in an instant. In order to prevent Yang Ying from successfully reaching Anghua, this person behind the scenes is indeed ruthless enough. A chronic toxin that is difficult to detect was used against Yang Ying. Without any accidents, Yang Ying would have died of poisoning before reaching Anghua. It's obvious. The person behind the scenes has prepared multiple plans to ensure that everything is safe and sound. An undercover agent like Zhang Qingyun is just one of the solutions. The struggle in the palace is really cruel. Really, Yang Ying was immediately delighted and instinctively turned around, completely forgetting that her clothes were not neat at this moment. Turn around first. Li Yan said helplessly upon seeing the situation. As a doctor, he has great medical ethics. Yang Ying finally realized something and immediately turned around, even though she was still surrounded by a cute little belly bag. You stay here, where can't you go? After speaking, Li Yan turned around and left. Oh. Yang Ying nodded obediently. Chapter 7. Yang Ying's Apprenticeship to Ren Ruyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the entrance of the small medical clinic. Those Wuxia Imperial Guards are a bit worried. If Dr. Li cannot persuade Yang Ying, and the little princess is completely hiding in the small clinic, they really have no choice. Forcefully breaking through. Obviously, it is impossible. Leaving aside the reputation and status of Dr. Li, the current situation of Ren Ruyi alone is a high wall that they cannot overcome. Dr. Li. The uniformed man led by Li Yan walked out and quickly approached, asking, has the little princess agreed? The little princess is poisoned. Li Yan said, I am temporarily unable to go on an envoy. This. The uniformed man led by him couldn't help but be taken aback. Who could have imagined such a result? However, they do not doubt Dr. Li's words. The reputation of Dr. Li is very good, and he shouldn't find such an excuse to deceive them. You can go back and reply directly. Li Yan said, "This is what Dr. Li said." "Yes." The uniformed man led immediately shouted respectfully. Soon. The guards quickly left. With the guarantee of Dr. Li, they naturally don't need to worry about anything. "Will you get caught up in this fight like this?" Ren Ruyi walked up and asked anxiously. "I am only responsible for medical treatment." Li Yan said seriously. "I understand." Ren Ruyi gave a faint smile. Even if Yang Ying wants to go on an envoy to Anghua, he still needs to wait for his illness to heal. Regarding this point, Ren Ruyi would not doubt Li Yan. During this period, Li Yan has already proven this point. A doctor with kindness. This is one of Ren Ruyi's evaluations of Li Yan. Li Yan didn't know that Ren Ruyi would have so many ideas. He only knows that by detoxifying Yang Ying, he can obtain about a month's worth of longevity yuan. Just because of this, he has reason to keep Yang Ying. By the way, you give her half an hour of exercise and healing every day. Li Yan turned his head and glanced at Ren Ruyi. Good. Ren Ruyi nodded. It will take some time to eradicate the toxins in Yang Ying's body. So. The small clinic has added a beautiful figure. Yang Ying didn't have the money to pay for the diagnosis and had to work to repay it. Not much work, which made Ren Ruyi even more relaxed. Danyang Prince's mansion. Waste. Upon hearing a report from his subordinates, Prince Danyang couldn't help but become furious when he heard that Yang Ying was staying at the small clinic of Dr. Li. Jiang Yuyan knelt in front of the Prince of Danyang, with an air that dared not take a breath. I can't even keep an eye on a little girl. Danyang Wang looked at Jiang Yuyan and cursed. Jiang Yuyan dared not refute, as he knew that Yang Ying would suddenly become enlightened. Didn't you say that the little princess likes you? Think of a way to bring her back. The Prince of Danyang ordered to speak. Yes. Upon hearing these words, Jiang Yuyan suddenly became confident. A little girl cannot escape the palm of his hand. Finally. It's not yet up to him to control. In no time. The Prince of Danyang finally calmed down. Although Dr. Li has a great reputation, it is not enough to make the Prince of Danyang wary. The most feared person by Prince Danyang is Zhang Sanfeng. Those who have investigated Li Yan know that Li Yan, a young man, has a good relationship with Zhang Sanfeng. Offending Li Yan is equivalent to offending Zhang Sanfeng. Who is Zhang Sanfeng? Prince Danyang naturally knows very well. That is one of the few heavenly and human powerhouses he only knows. One person is enough to move freely among thousands of troops, taking the top rank. Zhang Sanfeng's plan to kill the Danyang king is as simple as pinching an ant. Not to mention. Legend has it that Zhang Sanfeng is already a land deity. If this is true, then the founder of Wudang's sect cannot be provoked. At the thought of this, Prince Danyang showed a helpless expression on his face. Why did little Princess Yang Ying run to Dr. Li's small clinic? I hope this waste can be disposed of as soon as possible. The Danyang king prayed in his heart. As for Yang Ying's poisoning, there will be no evidence to prove that he did it. If Yang Ying cannot go on an envoy to Anghua, then his entire plan will have to be restarted. We still need to prepare a hand. The Prince of Danyang quickly made a decision in his heart. Since we can't come openly, let's do it secretly. Steal. Quietly find someone to steal Yang Ying out. Dr. Li's medical skills are indeed very impressive, but his martial arts are not very good. Who should I contact? Danyang Wang pondered. The most suitable candidate is undoubtedly Ning Yuanzhou, the newly appointed head of the Six Paths Hall. However, the Prince of Danyang was worried that Ning Yuanzhou and Zhang Song, the Prime Minister of Wu, would have a conspiracy and sell him. This matter cannot be seen in light. That can only be done by people who cannot see the light. Recently, the 12 constellations have appeared on Wudang Mountain. The Prince of Danyang suddenly remembered a piece of news and made a decision in his heart. Stealing people requires finding robbers to do it. The most crucial thing. The Prince of Danyang learned that Dr. Li is now protected by a skilled expert from the innate realm, and most bandits really cannot steal Ying. Of course. The King of Danyang believed that as long as he did not touch Dr. Li, the expert in the innate realm would not compete with the 12 stars in terms of fate. A small medical clinic. This is the 5th day left by Ying. These days, Ying has been very fulfilling. After all, you can see the people you like every day. Since Dr. Li knew that she liked him, Ying didn't hide it and simply wrote her love for Li Yan on her face. This gave Ren Ruyi a topic of teasing Li Yan. This day, Ren Ruyi heals Ying's injuries. In fact, Ying's toxin can be completely eliminated yesterday. However, Ren Ruyi knew what Li Yan meant and tried to keep Ying at the small clinic for a while. So, with this scene now. Thank you, Sister Ren. Ying felt that Ren Ruyi had stopped, so she turned her head and said gratefully. You are welcome. Ren Ruyi gave a faint smile. For this naive and innocent little girl, Ren Ruyi still has a good impression. Ying is so good. Ren Ruyi didn't pay much attention to Ying's liking for Li Yan. She is a killer. One day, she will not be by Li Yan's side. When the time comes, it's not a bad idea to let Ying take care of Li Yan. By the way, Sister Ren, can you teach me martial arts? Ying changed her tone and asked seriously. Do you want to practice martial arts? Ren Ruyi was a bit surprised. Ying nodded and said, am I too weak to be bullied? Upon hearing these words, Ren Ruyi remained silent. I will study diligently, Master. Ying quickly knelt down. Get up quickly. Ren Ruyi shouted. If Sister Ren doesn't agree, I won't get up. Ying said firmly. I am very strict. Ren Ruyi said coldly. I'm not afraid. Ying's gaze was incredibly firm, not avoiding Ren Ruyi's indifferent gaze. Then get up. Ren Ruyi said. Yes, Master. Ying stood up happily. Starting early tomorrow morning. Ren Ruyi said. Good the next day. Early in the morning. It's not yet dawn. Behind the small clinic, there are 2 beautiful shadows. It has to be said that Ren Ruyi is very strict with Ying. Ying gritted her teeth and persevered. Li Yan didn't say much when he saw this scene. Chapter 8. Dr. Li's flying needle, we have to prevent it. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After this period of hanging up, Li Yan's Tai Chi sword technique has finally reached its pinnacle and is not far from perfection. After the completion of Tai Chi swordsmanship, Li Yan planned to hang up the opportunity to practice the lightness skill, Ladder Cloud Vertical. Ladder Cloud Leap is a unique lightness skill of Wudang sect, created by Zhang Sanfeng, and can be regarded as one of the lightness skills. It emphasizes the lightness of body movements and does not confuse opponents with variable footwork. The key is to have a light and agile body, and to move forward and backward freely. Li Yan does not deny that Zhang Sanfeng is very kind to him. In fact, Li Yan guessed why Zhang Sanfeng was so kind to him. The reason is very simple. Related to Zhang Sanfeng's 3 disciples. Zhang Sanfeng is happy to discuss medical skills with Li Yan, firstly because he has an interest in this area, and secondly because he is treating the illness of his 3rd disciple Yuan. Zhang Sanfeng did not ask Li Yan to directly treat Yuan. He planned to give it a try himself, and if it was not successful, he would let Li Yan take action again. Without any accidents, Zhang Sanfeng succeeded. In this way, I am in a good mood and don't mind passing on the Wudang unique skill, Ladder Cloud Vertical, to Li Yan. In the treatment of Yu Daiyan, Li Yan did indeed help Zhang Sanfeng a lot and gave valuable advice, especially in combining modern medicine. Next. It's Zhang Sanfeng's birthday. It is also the day when the fifth disciple Zhang Xueshan returns. Zhang Sanfeng naturally wants to celebrate well. Li Yan knew he couldn't leave empty-handed. Zhang Sanfeng values his friend, and Li Yan will not underestimate him. Whenever I think of a gift, it gives me a headache. Li Yan is really not good at selecting gifts. There is really not much demand for a master at Zhang Sanfeng's level. Zhang Sanfeng himself is still a master of health preservation. Learn alchemy when you have time. Li Yan murmured a sentence. For martial artists, pills that enhance their skills should not be disliked. However, for now, it is impossible. Li Yan cannot consume his longevity to learn alchemy. Forget it, go prepare some precious medicinal herbs. Li Yan finally made a decision. For Zhang Sanfeng, medicinal herbs still have some effect. The main focus is on a light gift and a heavy affection. After deciding on the gift, Li Yan opened a shop to practice medicine. Today is another lively day. Although it's not a serious illness, one can earn 1 day's worth of longevity yuan. A little makes a lot. Li Yan also enjoys it. The most crucial thing. Comfortable. Despite the large number of people, efficiency does not take much time. Especially now, with the help of Ren Ruyi and Lianxing, there is no need for Li Yan to walk around, saving a lot of time. Li Yan only needs to be responsible for medical treatment. Ren Ruyi has learned to pick medicine. Lianxing is still studying and only needs to be responsible for helping with decoction for the time being. It has to be said that Lianxing is the little princess of Wuxia, but she is not at all delicate. Sister Yang, there's an older brother looking for you outside. Suddenly, a little boy walked into the small clinic and came to Lianxing. Lianxing couldn't help but be taken aback. Master, I'll go out for a while. Lianxing glanced at Ren Ruyi. Go ahead. Ren Ruyi said. So. Lianxing followed the little boy who was passing the message out. In no time. The little boy took Lianxing to a tree not far from the small clinic. Is it you? Lianxing looked at a figure standing under the tree and her eyes became indifferent. It's none other than Zhang Yuyan. Lianxing didn't expect that Zhang Yuyan still had the face to come here to see her. I have seen the princess. Zhang Yuyan turned around and showed a self-proclaimed handsome smile. Get out of here. Lianxing cursed angrily and then turned around to leave. She used to be so blind that she thought Zhang Yuyan was a good person, but she turned out to be so bad that she was going to die. A big man deceiving a little girl is so hateful. After speaking, Lianxing turned around and left. Princess. Zhang Yuyan had no idea that Lianxing would behave like this, so he was stunned for a while. It's obvious. He didn't realize that Lianxing had already recognized his true face. Princess, you must come back with me. Zhang Yuyan immediately rushed forward, intending to forcibly take Lianxing away. There is still some distance from the small clinic here. What are you doing? Lianxing had long been wary of Zhang Yuyan and ran away. Princess, I'm sorry. Zhang Yuyan saw that Lianxing was about to escape his control and immediately drew his sword, intending to force the little princess to stop. With a gentle leap, he blocked her in front of her. You. Lianxing was furious. Princess, I have offended you. Zhang Yuyan said apologetically. Bringing the little princess back is a great achievement. However, before that, he still needs to do one more thing. Boil ripe rice with raw rice. As long as he takes possession of the little princess anyway, the little princess has no status in the palace. Even. He can still use this matter to force the little princess to submit. At that time, he will naturally become a son.In.Law. In the name of the son.In.Law, climb the peak again. The most crucial thing. Yang Ying's mission to Angua is a sure death. In this way, he can obtain both people and power without any worries, which can be said to be killing two birds with one stone. At the thought of this, Jiang Yuyan showed an evil smile. Master, save me. Although Yang Ying knew Jiang Yuyan was bad, seeing his smile at the moment, she had never hated someone so much. I wish I could kill him right away. It's too late. Jiang Yuyan immediately rushed towards Yang Ying. At such a distance, no one in the small clinic can save Yang Ying. However, the next moment, Jiang Yuyan was completely immobilized. At some point, a silver needle pierced the acupoint behind his neck. Ah! Yang Ying was unaware of this and knew she couldn't escape. She instinctively rushed forward, wanting to snatch the sword. This morning, Ren Ruyi happened to teach Yang Ying how to seize the sword. Compared to teaching swordsmanship, teaching Yang Ying how to seize the sword and protect herself is more practical. Puff! Yang Ying easily snatched the sharp iron sword from Jiang Yuyan's hand, and according to Ren Ruyi's teachings, the sharp sword tip mercilessly pierced the opponent's chest. You! Jiang Yuyan looked at Yang Ying incredulously. Perhaps the act of grabbing the sword is clumsy, but it has a certain style. Soon. Jiang Yuyan has lost his breath. Death without closing one's eyes. It's a great shame to die under Yang Ying's sword. This. Although Yang Ying was a bit frightened, she quickly calmed down. It was the other party who started. Alright, it's okay. A beautiful shadow appeared behind Yang Ying, gently embracing her. It's Ren Ruyi. Master. Yang Ying doesn't know what to say. She killed someone. This is something she has never thought of before. I'll leave this to my master. Ren Ruyi said. Next. Yang Ying returned to the small clinic first. Ren Ruyi is professional in handling matters such as corpses. Although many people saw this scene, many only saw that Jiang Yuyan wanted to kill Yang Ying, and Yang Ying counterattacked before mistakenly killing Jiang Yuyan. A cup of tea time. Ren Ruyi returned to the small clinic. Thank you. Ren Ruyi looked at Li Yan and said gratefully. Now, there is no need for Ren Ruyi to solve Jiang Yuyan. After all, it will be a lot of trouble. A small matter. Li Yan said. Ren Ruyi smiled knowingly. Li Yan's flying needle has to be guarded against. Fortunately, Dr. Li is not an enemy. At least, Ren Ruyi would be grateful for her good relationship with Li Yan. At the same time, not far away, two people are monitoring the small clinic. Chapter 9. 300 Years of Wild Ganoderma Lucidum. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. As Zhang Sanfeng's birthday approached, the area around Wudang Mountain also began to become lively. Some come to congratulate, some come to watch the play, and some come to fish in troubled waters. There are all kinds of martial artists. The 12 constellations refer to coming over with a mentality of fishing in troubled waters. Of course. They have another task, to collect money from the 6 major sects, come and gather the numbers, and force Zhang Zuishan to reveal the whereabouts of the dragon-slaying saber. The news of Zhang Zuishan returning to Wudang Mountain has long spread throughout the entire martial arts world. However, the existence of Zhang Sanfeng has made the 6 major sects hesitant to act recklessly, and can only force Zhang Sanfeng to compromise through the number of people and public opinion. If we really want to take action, the 6 major sects together are not opponents of Zhang Sanfeng. Simply put, it means using morality to kidnap Zhang Sanfeng and make him compromise. At this point, not far from the small clinic, there is the chicken in the 12-star system. Xianxia. Xianxia is not one person, but 5 people. 1 red-clothed chicken crown, 1 yellow-clothed chicken breast, and 3 flower-clothed chicken tails. At this moment, the two people monitoring the small medical clinic are the ones in the flower-clothed chicken tail. The Danyang king of Wuxia gave too much, and Xianxia couldn't refuse. So, with this scene now, why didn't Zhang Yuyan move just now? It should be the woman next to Li Yan who took action. I think that woman should be an innate expert, so we need to consider it in the long run. Just a few of us, we can't take the little princess away. Should we tell others? Let's go, this money is really not easy to earn, we need to add more money. Soon. The two of them, Hua Yi and Ji Wei, quickly left. They originally thought that Zhang Yuyan had tricked Ying out, and they had an opportunity to seize the little princess, but no one expected such a scene. Zhang Yuyan was unexpectedly killed by Ying. Helpless, the two of them, Hua Yi and Ji Wei, could only temporarily evacuate. Confronting an innate expert. 10 of them are not enough to fill each other's teeth. At the moment when Ren Ruyi used her lightness skills and appeared in Lianxing, the two of them, Hua Yi and Ji Wei, could confirm that this beautiful woman must be in the innate realm. Otherwise, Hua Yi Ji Wei would have taken action long ago and forcibly taken Lianxing away. It is obvious that it is impossible to steal Lianxing solely from Xianxia. Now, they plan to search for Wei Wuya, the leader of the 12 star signs, and discuss countermeasures. As long as the money is in place, there is nothing they cannot achieve. A small medical clinic. The incident between Zhang Yuyan and Lianxing is just a minor episode. Li Yan continues to operate as usual. Lianxing returned to the room and calmed down alone. Although this is a world of cannibalism, not everyone is cannibalistic. Lianxing's heart is still very strong. In the afternoon, Lianxing recovered. Originally, Lianxing was worried that killing Zhang Yuyan would attract more imperial guards from Wu Kingdom. However, after waiting for an afternoon, he didn't see anyone. At this moment, Lianxing truly realized the reputation of Dr. Li. It's not really a boast. It's night. Ren Ruyi continued to let Lianxing practice martial arts while diverting her attention. Li Yan went alone to the deep mountains and wild forests to search for medicinal herbs. After breaking through to the innate level, Li Yan became even more confident and fearless. Grandmaster level experts are ultimately a minority. The most crucial thing. Li Yan has not yet formed any grudges with any master level experts. How many people would be ordinary if they could become masters? These master-level experts cannot come to trouble Li Yan for no reason, and even want to kill him. It's a person who always gets sick. I have no choice but to deal with a divine doctor. In fact, Li Yan left the small clinic, away from Ren Ruyi, with a layer of intention. Fishing. Li Yan believes that Lianxing's matter will not end so easily. The emergence of Zhang Yuyan may just be one of the solutions. The people behind the scenes will inevitably have behind the scenes. Li Yan also knows who the person behind the scenes is, the Danyang king of Wu Kingdom. As a divine doctor, Li Yan cannot directly kill him. Harmful to reputation. Of course. There are still many ways for Li Yan to sanction the Prince of Danyang. However, at this time, Zhang Sanfeng's birthday is more important. Li Yan doesn't want to escalate the matter for the time being. But Li Yan will not sit idly by. If he leaves the clinic and Ren Ruyi is not by his side, I believe there will always be someone with ideas. Whether dealing with Lianxing or directly dealing with Li Yan, they are both seeking their own death. One of Li Yan's intentions was to lure snakes out of their holes. I hope everything goes smoothly. In the darkness, Li Yan walked among the trees. Firstly, he hopes to find good medicinal herbs. Secondly, he hoped that all the hidden ghosts, snakes, and gods would come to the surface and be caught in one fell swoop. With Ren Ruyi protecting Lianxing, Li Yan doesn't need to worry about anything. Ha! Li Yan suddenly stopped and his nose accidentally moved. Since breaking through to the innate realm, Li Yan has found that his sense of smell has become more sensitive. Many medicinal herbs can be distinguished solely by their odor. Lingji. Li Yan couldn't help but laugh. This smell intoxicated Li Yan. I'm afraid it's been at least 300 years now. Li Yan couldn't help but laugh. In this world, there is indeed 1,000-year-old Ganoderma lucidum, but it can be encountered but not sought. Not to mention 300 years, even a century-old Ganoderma lucidum is very rare. Ganoderma lucidum with a history of more than 100 years contains rich essence of heaven and earth, which is a great tonic for martial artists. A century-old Ganoderma can increase one's skill for several years. This varies from person to person. Having a good physique and absorbing more will increase one's skill, otherwise it will be wasted. In this way, how could those easily discovered century-old Ganoderma still exist? Generally speaking, good medicinal materials preserve the essence of heaven and earth through alchemy. Unfortunately, Li Yan is not good at alchemy. Zhang Zhenren should be able to refine pills. Li Yan has an idea. He doesn't know how to do it now, which doesn't mean that experts like Zhang Sanfeng don't know how to do it. Sending some precious medicinal herbs to Zhang Sanfeng hides this intention. If Zhang Sanfeng succeeds in alchemy and feels good, it is not impossible to give Li Yan a gift. Li Yan has never seen the alchemy of this world to this day. This is also the reason why he has not yet learned alchemy. There is no foundation for alchemy at all, and even idle games cannot be effective. In less than half an hour, Li Yan finally found a black Ganoderma lucidum, the size of a basin. Under the moonlight, the rough surface of Ganoderma lucidum is surprisingly shimmering with soft light, which is very magical. Indeed, it has been over 300 years. Li Yan carefully picked down the 300-year-old Lingji. Now, the gift has become a great honor. Zhang Sanfeng must be very happy to see him. No expert can refuse Lingji for more than 300 years. This kind of thing cannot be bought with money. No wonder no one noticed. Li Yan wrapped 300 years of Lingji mushrooms, carried them on his back, and looked around. Without the innate realm, he couldn't even get here, and he needed to possess top-notch lightness skills. Ordinary gatherers do not possess such conditions. A master with such conditions cannot go to pick herbs. Next, Li Yan once again unleashed the ladder cloud leap, and after a few jumps, he returned to the cliff. Ha! Li Yan stood on the edge of the cliff, slowly exhaling and forcing the miasma out of his body. Under the cliff, there is still a poisonous mist. There is no innate state, once inhaled, one will undoubtedly die. It's time to go back. Li Yan looked up at the moon and then turned around to leave. Although not many medicinal herbs were harvested, achieving the goal means there is no need to linger on this place. Chapter 10. Flying Needle quickly kills White Mountain Lord and other stars. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The night is dark and the wind is high. It's murder night. A small medical clinic. Ren Ruyi and Ying have long finished their cultivation and have gone to rest. However, Ren Ruyi replaced rest with meditation and waited for Li Yan to return. Although she knows Li Yan's strength is very strong and she is no longer a match for him, she is still a bit worried. At the same time, under an ancient tree not far from the small clinic, 4 figures are hidden among the shadows of trees. The leader is an ugly, sleazy, cunning, and vicious dwarf. It is the head of the 12 star phases, Wei Wuya. This time, all 12 constellations will be deployed. To be on the safe side, Wei Wuya decided to split his troops into 2 routes. Led by Wei Wuya, they went to the small clinic and waited for Bai Shanjun and others to capture Li Yanhua, in order to blackmail Ren Ruyi and hand over Ying. Although Wei Wuya is very confident in her own strength, Ren Ruyi is ultimately an innate expert, and there are few other astrological signs that can compete with her, even following a single move. The best solution is now. Get ready with both hands. Without any accidents, Li Yan will soon fall into the hands of Bai Shanjun. As for the other way, led by Bai Shanjun and Ma Yun, they went to surround Li Yan, who was going up the mountain to collect medicine. At the same time, on the quiet mountain road, Li Yan walked slowly without any urgency. As an innate expert, he should be able to travel quickly, but Li Yan is slow and gives people a very tired look. Since it's fishing, it naturally requires patience. Li Yan believes that the prey of self-proclaimed hunters will inevitably take action. He doesn't often go up the mountain to pick herbs. Such a great opportunity may not happen once a month. Finally here. Li Yan suddenly stopped. Surrounded, it became extremely quiet. Quiet enough to chill the heart. Especially now it's late at night. A timid person cannot walk on this mountain road at all. Sometimes, people are even more terrifying than ghosts. Good courage. Accompanied by a burst of applause, more than 10 figures emerged from the trees in front of Li Yan. Under the moonlight, Li Yan could still barely see the incoming person clearly. 12 star phases. Li Yan was a bit surprised. He didn't expect the Danyang king to ask the 12 stars for help, but the cost is definitely not too small. The attire of the starry rooster is too obvious, it's hard not to recognize it. Starry rooster morning guest, a total of 5 people. A red crowned chicken that causes its beak to peck. Make a pair of sharp yellow chicken breasts. 3 flower-clad chicken tails that make chicken feet sickle. Beside them, there was also a big rooster with a malevolent and demonic glow in its eyes. I didn't expect Dr. Li to know us again. The leading man took a step forward, with a dark face and a face full of iron-like beard, and said with a hint of surprise. He is the White Mountain Lord. Li Yan still has some memories of the White Mountain Lord. He knows that the opponent's martial arts are very high, and their fist has a strong gravity, which can knock hundreds of pounds of fierce tigers flying more than 10 feet away with one punch. Beside Bai Shanjun was a beautiful woman, Ma Yun, Bai Shanjuan's wife. According to rumors, Lady Bai is a promiscuous masochist who loves her husband to be jealous of her the most. Apart from Bai Shanjun and Ma Yun, pigs, monkeys, cows, sheep, chickens, and dogs from the 12 star signs have all arrived. It has to be said that the lineup is a bit luxurious. This also surprised Li Yan a bit. It seems that Bai Shanjun and others are planning to catch Li Yanhua back. Others cannot tell Li Yan's cultivation, but Wei Wuya can still tell. Especially Li Yan is able to use qi to control the needle, which is at least something that only martial artists can achieve. Only the couple of Bai Shanjun and Ma Yun can defeat Li Yan, but they cannot capture him alive or kill him. So, only then did we have this scene now. The existence of chickens and dogs, in addition to searching for Li Yan, is more to prevent Dr. Li from escaping. The main force that defeated Li Yan still had to be Bai Shanjun and Ma Yun. Pigs, monkeys, cows, and sheep are the backup measures prepared to prevent Bai Shanjun and Ma Yun from being defeated. In order to be foolproof, Wei Wuya chose the most secure solution. What's up? Li Yan knowingly asked. Without any accidents, Wei Wuya and other 4 stars who were not present should have gone to the small clinic. When Li Yan thought about Ren Ruyi's strength, he didn't worry too much. Although Wei Wuya and others are numerous and powerful, it is not an easy task to defeat Ren Ruyi. If one is not careful, Ren Ruyi will be killed in reverse. Robbers, how can they compete with a professional killer to kill? Dr. Li, come with us. Bai Shanjun did not act immediately, confident that Li Yan could not escape. The best outcome would be if you don't take action. A divine doctor, if he really goes crazy, it's still very dangerous. Especially some divine doctors are skilled at using poison. Take a trip. Li Yan shook his head and said, didn't you realize that you are the prey? Bai Shanjun was taken aback for a moment, then gave a cold smile and shouted, "Up." Before he could finish speaking, he took the initiative and rushed to Li Yan, which was as heavy as Mount Taishan. Mei Yun quickly caught up. The rest of the astrology showed signs of watching a play, as if mocking Li Yan for overestimating his abilities. However, the next moment, Bai Shanjun regretted it. A silver needle quietly flew out in the darkness. Not good. Is it innate? Bai Shanjun was greatly shocked and pale. His fist suddenly softened. Silver needle piercing acupoint. Bai Shanjuan's arm completely lost its mobility. Innate true qi cannot deceive people. Only those with innate strength possess innate true qi. Although Bai Shanjun's combat power is very strong, he is only an acquired martial artist. It is only because of his immense fist power that he has barely gained what appears to be his innate early combat power. After all, it's not innate. No matter how strong your internal strength is, it cannot be compared to true qi. Innate. Everyone was startled at the words. If Li Yan is truly a born strong person, then no one here can escape. Let's go together. Mei Yun immediately roared. Escape. No matter how fast, it's not as fast as Li Yan's flying needle. Together, perhaps there is still a glimmer of hope. Kill. The other constellations, such as Black-Faced Lord, rushed forward. Who could have imagined that the young divine doctor was still an innate expert? This is simply outrageous. You know, Li Yan looks just in his early 20s. However, despair will not be changed. Li Yan casually raised it, and 20 silver needles flew out of his sleeve. How could it be? Except for Lord Baishan, there was no one standing and everyone fell down. One shot seals the heart. I can't die anymore. Li Yan did not leave any survivors. Boom. In the end, Bai Shanjun fell down, his eyes wide open, and he couldn't close his eyes in death. At the moment of his death, Lord Baishan realized that Li Yan was not only innate, but also the pinnacle of his innate abilities. This is unbelievable. Otherwise, Li Yan could not have killed everyone present in a flash with just a flying needle. Next, it's Wei Wuya's turn. Li Yan jumped a few times and disappeared into the darkness. P.S. 10 changes on the first day, to show sincerity. Isn't it too much to ask for some data? Wishing all book enthusiasts a happy new year in advance. Begging for flowers. Thank you very much.